Hello friends, O2 Dad here.
And O2 Mom. If you're a pal, welcome back to our lovely life. If you're new, simply welcome. We are the Otaku Parents. Today, we're having a look at some parenting in anime. Do we agree with the parenting choices? Is there something that could be done differently? Do the parents even exist? Let's take a look in today's AniParents review of Fruits Basket, Season 1.
Now we're late to yet another series, but in case you also missed it, Fruits Basket is a fun, slow-paced little ditty. In Season 1, we follow Toru Honda, a high schooler who just so happens to be living in a tent out in a field. When she's discovered by her classmate Yuki Soma, she is invited into not only his home and his family, but the mysterious curse that goes along with it. We aren't really given too many details on the curse, other than the fact that certain members of this family embody different animals of the Chinese zodiac. This includes Kyo, the left-out cat. Throughout the first season, we see Toru learning what life is like being in this kind of culture and growing to be a mainstay in their family, despite some naysayers.
Let's talk about the parenting.
There are a lot of directions that we can go in as we see many different kinds of parenting in just the first season, but we're going to stick to the main character of the series this go-around.
Toru's parents, particularly her mother, are seen in some way, shape, or form in multiple episodes. Her mother, Kyoko, is a steady presence from beginning to end. Although she is passed on, her influence on Toru and others can be easily witnessed. We don't get to see much of Toru's father because he too has passed away, but it's implied that his demise came a whole heck of a lot sooner than Kyoko's, and it seems like it's possible that Toru simply doesn't remember that much about him. The focus is mainly placed on Kyoko, the mom.
Kyoko Honda is the delinquent turned good, formerly known as the Red Butterfly. When we see her in Season 1, it is always a flashback. The first half of the show, she is merely a shadow or faceless character, but later on we get full appearances as she gives Toru and her friends important life advice.
So for my thoughts, I think Kyoko represents the best that parenting has to offer. Here we have someone who has lived a full life, only to transition to a new kind of life once becoming a parent. I can't tell you how many people I have met that kind of think that life begins and ends at having children. Don't get me wrong, I love my kids. I wouldn't trade them or the life that I live for the entire world, but I think you have so much more to offer your kids when you are a complete person apart from them. That's how I feel about marriage as well. If you make your spouse or your kids your entire world, it becomes a bit suffocating, both for them and for you, right? I'm not going to say that we should all go out and be delinquents and sow our wild oats before settling down, though many of you may know that I have a soft spot for delinquent stories for some reason. But I think it's important before you decide to have children to go out there and just be a full person. Drive around at 3 o'clock in the morning, go backpacking in another country, accomplish some of your big dreams. It's going to give you a much bigger variety of experience to draw from. You'll have more to tell your kids about. You'll have more to teach them. You'll be able to see more potential in where your kids can go and what they can do if you have gone out there and gone to those places and done those things. Basically, you've truly lived. Apart from that, Kyoko is the kind of mom that I aspire to be. Warm, inviting. She welcomes Toru's friends wholeheartedly. She's also super real. She doesn't sugarcoat or coddle. She's involved with Toru, but not over-involved, you know what I mean? Watching the episodes with her in them, you get the idea that she would do anything for her daughter. And they have a lot of fun together and lead just a very happy life because she's been able to somehow find ultimate peace. It's like she found her own mental clarity and is able to pass that on to those around her. I love that. We can also see evidence of Kyoko's parenting through Toru's character and behavior. She's so warm and loving. This is a case where a well-adjusted kid is the proverbial apple, not falling far from the sweetest of all trees.
Kyoko was a rough and tumble gang leader who is also Mom of the Year material. In my opinion, the Red Butterfly is a prime example of not judging a book by its cover. Somewhere in the transition between fighting and family, her cold, vicious demeanor softened and transformed into a kind, loving personality that was also passed on to her daughter Toru. I don't know if I'd call Kyoko wise necessarily, but she definitely possessed street smarts and plenty of life experience that made her easy to admire. What I admire about Kyoko is that she's a flawed character, and the series makes sure you know that. She's not some heavenly saint or godly presence that can do no wrong. She's not the perfect parent, but she cared deeply for the people in her life. That's not restricted to her family, by the way. Even Toru's friends, Arisa and Saki, are affected by Kyoko's love and kindness. In fact, I feel like Kyoko loved Toru's friends like she would her own daughter. Thanks to that loving part, Toru has two best friends that would do absolutely anything for her, and I think that's really sweet.
Even marry her.
I hope to see more of Kyoko's past to see what made her become the incredible inspiration to Toru. I'm sure her husband played some role in that transformation, but a woman doesn't need a man to achieve that heightened love, peace, and transparency. I think Kyoko was lacking some form of love for a long time as to why she fought against the world. That love and affection was found in the form of her eventual husband, though, which would later spread to everyone in her life.
Now, let's talk about our overall thoughts on the first season. For me, Fruits Basket wasn't really anything I ever thought about getting a brotherhood treatment, but it really ends up being the perfect specimen for that. I barely remember the original anime since watching it back in my high school days. All I remembered was the scary, soulless eyes and the fast, rushed ending. This newer vision of the story really takes its time, which at some points could be a little frustrating if you're like me and just dying to get to the romance side of things, but I promise you, all of your frustration is going to melt away so quickly as you get all of the wholesome feels from each and every mundane moment. I am loving this iteration, and I cannot wait to watch more.
I also wasn't expecting Fruits Basket of all series to go Brotherhood, Kai, etc. The Studio Dean series, those enormous eerie eyes, has not aged particularly well, but I watched it early enough in my anime fandom that it got my attention. So when I heard news of a new series following the manga, I was interested. TMS Entertainment has given us a beautiful, well-paced series that keeps me invested in every episode. No end of episode cliffhangers needed. Whether it's one of the many characters in the Soma family, or even Toru's best friends, no character has been deprived of the limelight, and that makes me happy. I look forward to watching the remaining seasons.
And now for the rating. For the parenting in Fruits Basket Season 1, we're going to go ahead and give Toru's mom, Kyoko, the rating of Sachiko Fujinuma, top tier parenting.
And for the storyline, we give it 2 thumbs up.
Please watch it.
And that's our review of Fruits Basket Season 1. We're already dipping into the second season, and we'll be definitely reviewing that once we finish.
In the meantime, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe if you like what we have going on here. Thanks so much for watching.
I'm O2 Dad.
And I'm O2 Mom. And don't forget to
floss your teeth every day.